In today's video, we're going to show you how to customize the Divi header with just a little bit of CSS. Stick around to the end because we've got some awesome giveaways for you. So before we get started with this tutorial, there's a few things we want to cover. We have to do this. We have to talk about some best practices and principles for developing any new change to your WordPress website. First thing you want to make sure is that you have a development area set up. You can use a lot of different programs or a lot of different software to set this up. There's a few options we're going to talk about. Is Local by Flywheel, which is a great option to keep your live environment and your development area completely separate. You can also use a desktop server, or if you're running a Mac, you can use MAMP. Any of those will give you the same functionality. They'll be able to keep your dev environment separate from your live environment, which is key. You don't want to make changes on a live environment because you run the risk of really messing some things up. So that's kind of our PSA, that's our warning before we get started. But we can jump into here. Remember, we're going to customize this thing to look quite a bit different than what the normal Divi menu looks like. I think this is going to be super cool and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So let's hop right on in. We're going to first go into the back end of Divi. So we're going to jump back in. And on the left side, there's the Divi menu, and we want to select theme options. There's a few things we're going to drop into place here that are going to change the look of it pretty much right off the bat. And the first thing you want to do is upload a logo. So the logo we have in our blog post over at Divi Space has the Divi logo that was already uploaded to this demo zone, which is this Divi Hero Pack logo. So we're going to select that item and set it as the logo. If for some reason you don't have a logo, or you need to upload one, or you want to use the one from our blog, you can save that to your computer. And when you're in the Divi theme options under logo, just hit upload, go over here to upload files, select the file from your computer, select the image, and hit open. It'll go through, it'll upload it to the media library, and then you'll be able to choose it. So that's really it on this screen. We're going to save those changes. You always want to make sure to save your changes with every step of the process. Then the next piece is that we need to create a menu for our site. And you can do that under Appearances and then select Menus. We'll load up the different menu options we have, and you'll see what we've created here for this demo is a test menu. If you needed to create a new one, you just create a new menu here, select this link, and it's going to give you the option. You have your pages here. We've added home, and then we created a few custom links as well. Down here under custom links, we just created the link option and typed in a name just so that we'd have basically some placeholders for our menu. The key part to this is that you want to make sure to select primary menu here under display location. That way it becomes the main navigation structure for your entire website. Once this is done, you can hit save menu. And we're finished with the menu, and it's time to really customize the look of things. So to do that in Divi, and really a lot of themes out there, you can go under Appearances, select Customize. It's going to load up the theme customizer, and there's one section in particular that we're really going to focus on here. And that's going to be the header and navigation section. Right, so now we're in the back end, we're in the theme customizer. Let's go over to header and navigation. And we're gonna zero in here on primary menu bar. There's a few things that we want to change. So we need to come down to text size. We want to make it a little bigger. You can see as we do these changes that things actually start adjusting up here. So we've changed the text size. Letter spacing, we actually want to come down below negative, right? So we want negative 0.3. So that pushes those letters on each one of those links just a little bit closer. And for the font, you're going to see this as a theme throughout the tutorial, is that we really love the Open Sans font. So we're going to go down here, select Open Sans, and change the font type on our menu. So when we select Open Sans, you'll see that the menu font actually will change up here. We're going to go to uppercase, changes again, and we're going to adjust the font color. So text color, we're going to make it a little more see-through. So drop this down. Let's just go to 0.3. So you can see that the other fonts are going to be a little bit lighter, and then the active font is going to be a little bit, well, a completely different color in this case. It's going to be blue. We're not going to change that in this demo, but that pretty much solidifies what we're going to do as far as some of the basic changes to the look of this primary menu bar. So we'll hit publish, make sure that those are being saved and put out there, and then we're going to exit this section. The next piece is where we're going to throw in a little bit of the custom CSS. So on Divi Space, we've got this tutorial already written out, and inside of that tutorial, you're going to have a little code box that has some of the CSS already in place. We're going to copy that CSS, and we're going to come back into our back end of WordPress. Divi is, again, amazing. We love the theme, and here's another reason why. If you go under Divi in the theme options, they give you a centralized place to drop custom CSS. They make it extremely easy. So on the same general tab where we put our logo earlier, we'll scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you're going to see this custom CSS code editor, basically. And inside of this, we're just going to paste the code from the Divi Space tutorial, from the blog post. Now what this is saying that top menu, the navigation bar that we were looking at, it has links. These links we want to have a font weight of 600, meaning we want them to be bold. This main header says box shadow equals none. That means the line that you saw underneath the menu that separated the header from the rest of the page, we want that gone. So we set box shadow to none. And then the link items, this is list, we want the framework that's surrounding the container around the link to actually have a padding on the right of 31 pixels. So what we're going to do is actually space the links out a little bit farther. That's giving you an idea what the CSS is going to do. So we're going to hit Save Changes, and we want to see our work. So let's jump into the front end, and now you're going to see some of the changes that we just put in place. So the links are spread out a little bit farther. We see that the letters are a little more compact. The code changes we made to the color, the text, the font, all that's different, and there's no longer the bar underneath it. That shadow is gone. And this, you'll see exactly why this plays in just a little bit. That really that finishes things up with the navigation bar, but now we're going to jump into the header. And to do that, we need to create a brand new page. So if we go under New, select Page, this is going to give us the option to jump into a brand new page setup. Let's just call this blog just so it fits into our menu. It's really just our test page. And Divi gives us the option to use the Divi Builder here, which we absolutely want to do. So when we click Use Divi Builder, you have a couple of options. You can go back to the default builder. You can use the backend Divi Builder. In our case, in this example, we're going to use the Visual Builder. So you click on Load Visual Builder. It's going to take us into the front end, and it's going to load up the Visual Builder. And you're going to prompt with a few options right off the bat. Divi's added in a couple things. You can either build from scratch, choose a pre-made layout, or clone an existing page. For the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to build it from scratch. So let's select Start Building, and it jumps you right into the Visual Builder. It's going to prompt you with needing to insert a row. It's going to give you these structure options. In our case, we just want the single column. So it's going to be one row, one column all the way across. And we want to use the text modules. So we select this. Divi's awesome in the fact that it pre-populates content for us. So we're going to press OK. And down here, you have a few different options. These are going to give you either the phone view, tablet view, desktop view, a zoom out, or a wireframe view. In our case, just to get things in place really quickly, we're going to use wireframe view, because what we want to do is duplicate. If you hover over this is a duplication option. So we want 4 text options. And in the first one, you can actually change under the admin labels. We're going to make this design text. We're going to do the same thing on all these admin labels so that when we're looking at it, our information is really organized. That way, if we're looking at the wireframes, we'll know exactly what these are. They won't just say text. We'll know exactly the content that lives inside of these modules. So as we quickly jump through this, changing all these labels, we're good to go. All right, so let's jump back into the actual design. And we're gonna start putting some things in place. So this first module, you see as you hover over each one, it changes and gives you these prompts. We're gonna go to the gears and we're gonna change the words. We wanna just put design. And you can drag these around. Now this doesn't look too spectacular, we know. We're gonna do a little bit of design edits. So we'll go over into the design tab, and this is just regular text. So we're gonna expand the text section. And again, we told you we love the open sans, saved under our recents. It'll change the font. We wanna do a font weight. This is gonna be the background of the header, so we want it to be bold, we want it to stick out. The font style is one that we're not gonna change here. We've got caps for all of this. We're gonna look at the text color, and we want this to be very see-through, very light. So we'll drop this all the way down. And that looks pretty cool. It's small, but it looks pretty cool. So we're gonna actually go in and change the font size. Let's make it to where we can see what we're working with here. That looks great, but if we shrink in the devices, ooh, not so great. So we gotta make changes to the font size for the specific device that it's gonna be on. And that's what this option is over here. You click this and it adds the tabs, and it allows you to change these settings depending on the device. So we'll put 120 in there, looks pretty good. Let's go down to the phone. Oh, overlaps a little bit. Let's drop it down even more. 86, that looks pretty good. So now on all the devices, no overlap, no squishing, everything just looks great. Letter spacing, I still think it looks a little too far. So if we can try, yeah, that looks a little better. It looks more compact, it looks more modern. I like it. But it's still over to the side, it doesn't fit so well, right? So let's set the text orientation to the center. And now we'll go through and just make sure everything looks good. Yep, every device, that part looks awesome. So we're gonna jump into the second module. Let's go back into our wireframe. Oh, I just realized I can't spell. That's okay, it happens. Make some cool things. So we're gonna change this content here as well. And it's gonna say, let's make some cool things. And what this is going to become is sort of that little subheader. So you can see it here. So we'll go back into that wireframe and go back into the settings. And under the design tab here, we're gonna make some adjustments. And what's really cool is that after we hit, the wireframe is great for getting the sections and the settings of the right module. As soon as you open up the settings, you can go back into the visual look at the front end and still make the changes that you need to make. So for here, we're gonna change the font to Open Sans as well. We're gonna go bold rather than ultra bold. For the font size, I think this is gonna be one of those we're gonna have to change on the devices as well. So as we go down, let's see what size we need to make this. 45 might be a little big. 40 looks pretty good. And this one's pretty big too. Let's see what we can do here. All right. So it looks like we had to go a little bit smaller in this one to jump down. Text color, we're good. We're gonna make this real dark. Letter spacing, still like those tighter shots. I'm gonna bring things in and make it look super modern again. Line height, we kind of want to tighten all this up. And we're gonna center this as well. That looks pretty good. And we gotta test it on all the devices, make sure everything is not jumbled, not too crazy. And that's good for the actual font decorations. We still gotta make some some adjustments on where this text sits on the design. So the good thing with Divi is that you can actually close up these groups. Now we want to look at some spacing. So if we go into margin, we want to make adjustments on this top margin. And we need this to sit right in the middle. Oh, and we're good. -65, we got it right in place. Does it look good on tablets? It's close, it's close. We can drag down here till we get it just in the center. Look at the smartphone, drag down till we get it exactly in the middle. We feel pretty good about this, right? Looks awesome. I think the text may actually need to be a little bit bigger though. Maybe not that big. This is what's beautiful about the visual builder, is that you can see things in real time. And we'll come back down to spacing. And maybe this needs to go up just a hair. Just like that. So that makes the first and the second text module fitting absolutely perfect into our design. So we'll go back into the wireframe, load the settings for the third one, and then bring the visual builder back into place. All right, so we're going to jump into the design tab. We're going to change up this font as well on this third section. So again, staying in the same rhythm with Open Sans. For this one, we're going to change the font size, but not the actual font weight. So let's go up to around 18. And we're going to drop this down a little bit and make it a little more transparent. Perfect, looks awesome. Let's make it a little more transparent. I think it looks pretty good. Letter spacing, we're going to adjust on this one as well. -0.3, just to tighten it up. The line height, we're going to go down just a bit, not too much. And then we're going to set this as orientation in the center. The one thing we need to do here is make the adjustments on our content. We still got the placeholders content in place, and we're going to say we are a digital agency that specializes in user experience design. Hey, no typos. Awesome. So we've got that in place, and we're going to go back into the design tab because we've got to get the spacing right. You and I both know this doesn't look where it's like it's where it's supposed to be. So let's make these adjustments. So we're looking at the margin. We need to push this down. So we're going to look at margin top, and we're going to say, just as a starting point, 120. It looks pretty good. It's farther down. I think we can live with that. Let's see what this looks like on a tablet. It's kind of a big gap, right? Maybe we need to shrink that down. Ha! Looks better. Smartphone, let's see. We need a smaller gap here as well. Wow, that really looks good. Awesome. Okay, so I think those all look pretty good. We've got some text here. We've got some text. All kind of looks pretty solid right here. And we're going to go and actually make some adjustments to the overall settings because the text we have in those modules is a little close to the menu. So in the settings, or the section settings rather, we're going to go over to the design tab and we're going to change things in spacing. I think we need to push this down the screen a little bit. So let's see what 200 looks like. Yeah, it looks actually pretty good. We're going to change this because it's not going to be quite the same on every device. We're going to play with a little bit of this. It's hard to tell in this one, just because there's no header on the visual builder. It hides it for very specific reasons. And we're going to adjust the bottom padding as well. So we want to add a little space underneath this. And let's say, 150. It looks pretty cool, right? Add a little bit of spacing here. And then we'll jump into the tablet and add a little bit of spacing here as well. So I think we're pretty good. We're actually going to delete this. We only need 3 We only need 3 text modules for this one, but what we are going to add is a button. So you'll be able to see this button here. We want to go under the settings, and we want to change it to where it just says click here. Well, let's jump back into the front end. You'll see it says click here. And we got to change the way this looks. We definitely want it to fit into the design. So we're going to go to button, and we're going to do some custom styles on the button itself. Let's see, keep playing around with this until it looks nice. I think we say, we'll go to 14. I think we want to push this button over. It definitely needs to be in the middle, right? Yeah, I think so. So we're in the button. We're going to change this text color. I want it to be all white. In the background color, I want to make it rock solid. Solid black. All right. Keep on going down. Border width, we're going to have none. Now the radius is where you can start playing around with things, right? So you can really kind of set apart the design. Make some pretty cool, like some very cool layouts. Now our font, I think you already know where we're going with this. I'm going to go to Open Sans. Font weight, we're going to do another bold because this is our call to action. We want people to see it. They need to see it. They need to get excited about it. And then we don't want to show the button icon. We just kind of want the button to be there. And then we're going to jump into spacing because we want to do some things with this that change the look of it, the positioning of it. We need to push that button down just a little bit. I think we feel pretty good about that. That's perfect where the tagline is in between the top header text and the button itself. And then padding, we want to do some things with the button itself. So you can actually link these. I think we're going to go top and bottom is 19. And then we're going to push things out just a little bit on these. We want to check and see how this looks on all devices. You know, maybe it's a little bit much on some of the smaller devices. That button's pretty big. So let's see if maybe we need to change the spacing, make it a little more compact. Let's see what we can do here. Just throw in some random numbers, right? So when we're looking through this whole thing, I think it looks pretty solid. It looks very, very solid. All right. So the next thing we want to try, I think we want to add a little bit of a shadow to the button. So let's do this and play with some of these options. So the horizontal position, I like it to live right under the button. And then the vertical position, we're going to keep it around 2. We'll push this blur strength out just a little bit. That looks pretty cool. It stands out. You know, I believe it really just kind of makes it look unique. All right, take that down just a little bit. Brings your eye to the button, right? So what do you think? How does it look? I think it looks pretty good myself. Let's jump into the whole view, and you can see this page is pretty cool. So let's publish this. So we'll hit publish. We'll exit the visual builder and go back in. Go back into edit page. And we called this one our blog. So what we really want to do before we jump out of here is we want to see this page in action. So to do that, we would have to add it to our menu. And remember, we did this earlier. To do that, go under Appearances, go to Menus. It's going to load up our test menu. And now you see we've got 2 pages here. So this blog was one of them that we just created. So let's add it to the primary menu. We'll hit save. And now we can see the work we've done on the front end. So our menu is completely updated. We'll go to our blog page that we just created, and you've got this amazing header that looks awesome. That's pretty much it. We hope that you've enjoyed this. Stick around. I'm going to show you how to get that freebie. So it's awesome that you've made it through this entire tutorial. We've got something to offer you, and it's great. And it's one of the powers of Divi. It's one of the things that makes Divi amazing is that you can export these layouts once you've created them. So we have the JSON file that you can download, import into Divi library, and create this layout automatically. Just import it into your web page design. So we're so excited that you've made it to the end of this tutorial. We've got an awesome header. We're super proud of it, and we want to deliver some value to you. So you have the ability in Divi to export layouts once you save them. You can add them to the Divi library, export the JSON file, and distribute it to all your friends, which is really, really cool. You being our friend, we want to make sure that you get it. So if you go over to our blog that's linked in the video description, it's going to bring you to the Divi Space site, specifically the text behind this tutorial. And at the very bottom, there's a button for the JSON file that you can download. You can go back into Divi library, import the layout into your library, and then use it on any of the pages that you need. You can tweak from there. So thank you again for sticking around. Thanks for working through this awesome tutorial and layout with us. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next video.